Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cut Ups. We're here, episode 11. Michigan improving to 11-0 over Maryland. The Terrapins on the road. Wolverines had a bit of a scare versus Maryland here on the road, but able to prevail 31-24. Tough game. Lots to improve on, lots to look at ahead of obviously the biggest game of the year in college football, I would say in football, honestly, against Ohio State. But what we do is we look backwards before we can look forwards, right? That's what you got to do. Do a little self-reflection here before heading into the finale in Ann Arbor against Ohio State. As Derek Campbell says, just beat Ohio State. Throw that up on the screen because, of course, always. Twitter's already in rare form. It's pretty nuts. It's impossible to tweet anything objective this week. You're just not going to be taken seriously. People are losing their minds, as always, and I don't know why I even partake on that site anymore. So, just me for now. Trevor may join a little bit later. I'm expecting this to go about an hour and a half today, get through the first half. Much better than the second half. If I kind of bucket my plays to like good plays versus bad plays, we're pretty even, a little bit more good plays from the first half than bad plays. We go into the second half and there are a lot of negative plays. So this will be the more positive of the two episodes this week. We're probably looking at Monday, Wednesday, because obviously Thanksgiving things going on. Just want to get ahead of it this week, right? Yeah, so I'll give another minute here. Let me shift my screen, make sure I do this. I didn't open up the app yet. So we'll see, man. This was a scary game. Maryland came in prepared. Michigan looked a little sloppy at times, a little worried. But then I have to remind myself how Michigan looked last year against Illinois, right? And it was like, man, how are we going to move the ball? How are we going to do anything against Ohio State, right? So was it an underwhelming performance? Absolutely. Anyone telling you otherwise is too much of a homer for my taste. Is it the end of the world? No. Came away with a win, right? Came away with a win. That's all you can hope for week over week. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Things to be concerned about, right? But let's get going here into the breakdown. Start off on Michigan's first drive here, 1st and 10 on their own 17. Let's get it cracking.
17-yard line for J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan offense on first down. They hand it off to Blake.
And I wanted to show this right away because it was something that we saw a lot against Purdue or against other teams, especially this week, where Michigan didn't feel like they had to use the legs of J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, after the Penn State game, a little bit beat up as well, so they wanted to keep his legs. And this is one where, again, whenever I watch the run game for Michigan and it's not going successfully, my first question is, are the numbers equal, right? Are the numbers equal? And you see this space player come down and add himself to the box. That means you got 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, this safety type player, that's 7, right? 7. Welcome, Mr. Martini. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So immediately you're 6 against 7. How do you remove one player, right? We've been through this plenty of times. You remove either the end or maybe this guy through a read, right? If you read him using your eyes, threaten something to the outside with the quarterback keeper based on the behavior of one of the edge defenders, then you can regain numbers in the box. Michigan clearly doesn't have anything that is on here. I don't think this is an actual read here, but you're trying to sell that J.J. McCarthy with his eyes, right? You're trying to get this player to hold up right at this point so that you can allow Blake Corum to go play side here without him coming backside, right? This guy is going all the way, doesn't hesitate. This is an actual keep. You would have something with life out to the outside, but I don't think this is an actual read here. So that guy makes first contact behind the line of scrimmage, right? He makes that play. And there's no one to account for him, right? Because that's not where the blocking is supposed to go, right? You have a double team here. Double team, boom. This reaches out to the linebacker. You have Bredesen working through here to the other linebacker, one-on-one block, one-on-one block, one-on-one block, right? And then you block 6-on-6. He adds himself to the box here, right? He comes through this play side B gap. He's unaccounted for, right? And that's what the eyes are hoping to sell. But the reads for J.J. McCarthy were not live, at least not for most of the game, right? So I don't recall there being any runs for him. So when the reads aren't live, right, and Maryland knows that, then you are able to add an extra body to the box for free, right? Because this read that Michigan's trying to sell here isn't actually a read, right? So was there great blocking here for Blake Corum? No, right? The hole that is supposed to form here, there was a hole, but not anything real productive, right? It's hard for these guys to get out here for a flow here if this is where Blake Corum wanted to go. Now, if this guy didn't come flying down, right, say he did respect the pass or something, or there was a fake that he bid on out here, maybe Blake Corum could have snuck through after this or something. But again, isn't the case, right? So, why wasn't Michigan successful on the ground? Oh, you're not going to be able to run the ball. Well, again, when you play the run game with one hand tied behind your back, J.J. McCarthy is important in the run game. We saw that versus Penn State, right? It's huge, huge. And Michigan did not open up the legs for J.J. McCarthy. Okay, moving on here. Another negative play. See what goes on. 3rd and 5.
Donovan Edwards comes in, number 7 for Michigan. Johnson in motion. Here's McCarthy to the sideline looking for the first down.
About half yard short, 1 yard short. And there's two things on this play, right? It's supposed to be a very difficult pass to defend when you're in man coverage, right? You look at the coverage here. Actually, it's not actual man coverage, but this is, so what is this, cover 3? It looks like it's possibly cover 3. All right, so you got going out to the deep third, responsible for deep third, right? So he has the flat. Probably curl, right? One of these guys probably has the running back. He's probably manned up against the running back, and he has the curl He would go out to the flat. He would go to the curl. Let's see if that's actually how it plays out. Possibly, right? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, it's actually zone, right? So because you have a guy responsible for a deep third here, right? He's getting depth initially. So he's getting depth. He has to get out to the flat here. So there's going to be a weakness right here, right? Because he has to get over the top initially in case anything goes vertical here. And he has a lot of room to get horizontal for this. So this should be here, right? Twofold, the issue here. Throw is a little late. I think the throw could have been there a bit faster, could have anticipated Cornelius Johnson getting to that spot quicker. The other aspect that I don't like about this is where Cornelius Johnson made his cut, right? You make your cut at the sticks, right? You should end up at the sticks, I should say. He stops at the sticks and then he comes back for the ball. Really, you should be threatening maybe a yard or two past the sticks. I'd like him to be breaking down maybe right here and then coming back for the ball here, right? That gives you more room just to get the first down. Instead, he turns around at the first down marker. So then he has to work outside towards the ball and look at how much room, right, that he gives the defenders to react to that. He doesn't set himself up well to be successful there, right? So I think this throw is late because he's out of his break quicker, right? You see how he's kind of just waiting for the pass here, right? Here's where the ball should be arriving right now, right? The ball should be arriving right now. It's a little late because of how much quicker Cornelius Johnson got out of his break than what J.J. McCarthy was probably expecting on that. So the timing is just a little bit off, right? If the pass is about to arrive right now, right? If he's making his catching motion now, then you can fall backwards or try to turn upfield for another yard or two, right? And then it's no issue. But because he turned back sooner, right? Instead of turning back here, if he turns back up here, that throw is arriving when J.J. McCarthy is expecting that break to be occurring. And Cornelius Johnson is just a little bit early on that break, right? So that gives defenders more time to get to the wide receiver, and it throws off the timing of the quarterback for when that ball should be thrown. So, I mean, I think this is something that Cornelius Johnson sometimes struggles with. If it always feels like Roman Wilson is a guy, especially in like scramble situations. Roman Wilson is a guy who finds a way to be open, right? It feels like there's just a couple scenarios with Cornelius Johnson where he's just a little bit off, right? And not quite on the same page as JJ McCarthy. And this is one of them, right? And that's a big difference. Being able to get that first down, and especially on your first drive, sort of build that comfortability for the quarterback. That's huge. Getting that sort of just moving the chains and, going, what is this, 3 and out or maybe first down and out? That hurts. And that really set up the game poorly for Michigan's offense. Maybe not poorly, but it didn't set them up well. All right. Moving into the defense. Oh, a throw to Loveland's right shoulder was a first down. Oh, I did see this as well, where it's like, oh, Loveland was open, right? And I do want to call this out because I saw a couple people mention that as well. That's not where this play is initially supposed to go, right? You see the read here for JJ McCarthy all the way is looking at that player in the deep third, right? He's just watching right here. Could he have thrown here? Probably, right? But I'm not going to. This route from Cornelius Johnson is meant to beat this sort of coverage, right? So they get what they want. So this read for JJ McCarthy, this is there. So I don't necessarily think this is a case where this is the wrong spot for this to be thrown, right? I agree with you that this probably could have been a first down, but I'm not going to fault JJ McCarthy for going with the first read here that happened to be correct. Like this was schemed open. It was more of a lack of execution than a poor read or not the best read. Michigan got what they wanted here. It just wasn't the best. It wasn't well executed from the wide receiver, and I think that threw off this play. But you're right. It could have gone to Loveland. I'm not going to fault a player for trusting his first read based on the coverage, and that's what was schemed open for JJ McCarthy and Cornelius Johnson. It was a good call out, but I'm not going to fault the players for that one. Okay, 1st and 10, Maryland on their first drive.
Play fake underneath, caught another down.
Backside RPO for Maryland, just absolutely murdered Michigan all game. It's something that if I'm OSU, they haven't shown a whole lot of this all year, but they should implement it. Right? Like they should 100% implement it. All right. What could be done a little bit better on this play? So this is meant to open up the exact slant, right, on the backside here. And I don't know if it's actually RPO. I feel like it has to be based on the eyes. So the eyes here are trying to sell this, right? This is the motion of all of this stretch, all the zone blocking here. This is meant to sell this run. Right. And naturally, that's where your linebackers are going to flow on this play. Everything is telling you this is where this needs to go. Right. So that's where you see the eyes of did I say Tua? Taulia Tagovailoa. That's where he's looking. Right. So anyway, as he sees this linebacker, right, this Junior Colson moving this way, that's going to give him the comfortability to look towards this, right? This area, exactly where Joel Klatt threw on the screen here, that's what's going to be open. So then you see his eyes shift towards that route, right? Boom, he gets what he wants, sees that motion. There we go, right? So what could be done better here? I think a couple things. I think you need to continue to move with your eyes if you're Makari Page, right? Now, I do think Taulia Tagovailoa sells this well. I think he does hold, right? He sees Makari Page here. He's not dumb. He's one of the best quarterbacks Michigan has faced all year, which maybe isn't saying much in Big Ten, right? But still worth something. I think he holds him, right? Watch the head here. Number 3. I think he holds him. Hold. And then boom. Then he looks to the area, right? So those eyes are meant to hold, to not give that safety any room on where he's looking to throw. Right. I do feel like Makari Page needs to feel that a little bit better. Right. Is it possible? that this guy could just be going on a little curl route here? Yeah, it could be, right? I don't know how much Maryland has put on film, right? Going on a slant versus going on a sort of hook right here, right? But on a slant, I feel like you need to just feel this a little bit more, right? So give Maryland credit. I think with two high safeties, this is really, really difficult to defend against because that is where Makari Page is technically supposed to be. This is just where the hole will be. This slant will be there on an RPO when your linebackers are going to be reacting to a run, right? This whole point of RPO. This is Josh Gaddis we're talking about, right? So it's just well executed, right? Well executed, good throw. And Michigan was victimized by this all game. All right, moving into 3rd and 7 now.
Empty backfield for Tagovailoa. Steps up. Now scrambles. Looking. Turns a corner. Still on his feet. And will go out of bounds.
Give a lot of credit to Michigan here. Give a lot of credit to Tagovailoa. We don't have a better angle of downfield, so we don't know exactly what the coverage looked like. Michigan's obviously in zone here, which seems like a good call against this sort of whip route option that you see Maryland going with. It seems like they're hoping that Michigan is in man coverage, right? Because if Michigan is manned up, then you run like a little slant, right? And then a little sluggo out. Anyone who's manned up here on the number 3 is going to have a really hard time following out here. But when you're in zone, right, you can get your deep, you can get out to the flat. This is really well covered against this, right? There's no traffic here that Maryland is hoping these two slants create on the top of the field here. So if we play through this, there's not a lot of complications here, like to defend this, right? Everything is there. Everything is well covered. And that's where Tagovailoa is looking initially, right? They don't get the look that they wanted from Michigan's defense. Thus, everything is pretty well covered based on the play design, right? And then beyond this is now you're in backyard football, right? What do I mean by that? Number 2 is trying to cut up, right? I think you had Will Johnson in the deep zone on the top of the screen. He's probably covering in the end zone. Now you man up. Now you find a guy, right? We're in backyard football mode. You just got to find a guy. Don't let anyone improv their way open, right? So it seems like they do a decent enough job doing that. And then the rest of this is just good pursuit, right? So it's relatively well defended here for Maryland, right? A little bit of pressure. You got a stunt here on the outside. You're going to have Junior Colson across the face here of the offensive guard. A little loop here from Brady McGregor. They handle that play side here pretty well. Good pressure from Cam Good, actually, on the interior. He's become a really good pass rushing defensive tackle. Watch the move that he pulls on the inside. Really good job against the center. So he's probably what spooks Tagovailoa a little bit initially, and then he has to duck out, right? So good movement, even though you're not getting the direct pressure here on this side of the defensive line. They're pushing these guys quite a bit, right? So when you have a free freight train coming in Cam Good, right, you don't have a clear path right away for Tagovailoa, right? He has to really extend this out. So it's a good job. Only thing I would like to see, be a little bit more realistic if you're Brady McGregor, right? This is one of the more athletic quarterbacks that you will face, probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks that you will face all year. And he just doesn't take the most realistic route, right? You got to trust you're going to have a linebacker coming backside here, right, to help out. Just go down the line a little bit more, right? Don't be this aggressive. I get it. He almost takes him out, right, with an ankle tackle. So I am being nitpicky here a little bit. But go a little bit more down the line, right? Trust that your defense will be able to flow here backside to try to get him to cut back and he can get blown up, right? So a good attempt from McGregor, again, almost gets that ankle, right? But then look at the great angle here from Cam Good, right? He gets the initial pressure, then he gets on his horse. He's going, right? And he takes a realistic angle, right? That's a big boy, and he's taking a big boy angle, right? So it's a smart job from him, right? Recognizing the sticks, getting on that horse, and Jalen Harrell does a good job coming up from a linebacker position as well to stop Tagovailoa a little bit short. Got to be careful on the sideline here, right? I think this was legal. They do seemingly get a push right as he's stepping out of bounds, so I don't think it's close to a roughing play. But when quarterbacks are on the sideline, things are always going to be called a little bit weirder than if it's just like a running back. So anyway, good job initial pressure from Cam Good. Bray McGregor, a little bit more realistic angle, I think, could have yielded a sack here. Cam Good, good job in pursuit. Jalen Harrell came down, and good job from the secondary, right? Everyone did their job here. Derek Campbell, Cam Good on his horse. Exactly what I said. Cam Good just needs Kenneth Grant's wheels. I mean, he's pretty close. I don't think he's that close. All right. He's quick for a big guy. He's not a freak like Kenneth Grant is. I'll give him that designation. Quick for a big guy. It's not a bad thing. All right. 1st and 10. Michigan gets the ball after the field goal for Maryland. Michigan on the 35 here.
Michigan starts at their own 35, 1st down. J.J. McCarthy. And he throws it over the middle. Caught him.
Oof. Tough hit, right? Really, really tough hit. It's a good catch. I mean, give a ton of credit for Roman Wilson for hanging in there, right? I do think, again, this throw could have been a little bit earlier, right? This throw needs to be starting to be thrown right now, right? Throw it right now, because if he throws it right now, this window is the same, right? This window is the same. You got Roman Wilson right here. Throw it now. Give less time for the safety to come across here, right? This is just up the seam. You have the window that you need, right? You're looking at it. You're looking at the window. You're trying to determine the space here between these two defenders. Throw that a little earlier. He should be starting to throw that ball right now. And he just waits a beat or two too much, right? And that's what gives enough time for that safety to come down and lay a lick, right? If you throw this right now instead, if he's starting his throwing motion right about now, yeah, he's just a hair late, right? And I'm picking nits here because this is still a good play, but an extra half second, a quarter second even of holding on to that ball gives that safety that much more time and opportunity to come flying down and make that big hit, right? Is this targeting? Is this not, right? The big controversy. So it's a defenseless player, right? It is. Is the initial contact towards the head? It seems like it, right? It's either the defender leading with the crown of the helmet. That's not the case here. Or forcible contact to the head or neck area, right? Is it the worst I've ever seen? No, right? I don't feel like this is an egregious, right? An egregious case of it. It could have been called. I've seen a lot less called, right? Plenty of times. I mean, there is forcible contact there, right? If that arm is closer, if this right arm, right, if this is closer to the neck instead of into the chest, I think it's a no-doubter call, right? But you can't see that right shoulder, but that right shoulder is contacting the shoulder as well, right? So this is like a 50-50 call to me, right? It looks a lot worse because it is a defenseless receiver, right? And this is an exact case that Emily Stout, you're bringing up perfectly, that I tweeted out multiple times during the day. Do I think he should get ejected for this? No. Do we still get penalty yards, though? I couldn't figure out by the time they finished reviewing. So because they just called this targeting, sometimes they can call it unnecessary roughness or roughing the passer or some other designation with targeting. That's what the call against Mason Graham later in this game was. Sometimes it's just targeting. Like the only penalty is targeting. If it's unnecessary roughness with targeting, then it's 15 yards and a possible ejection. In this case, the only potential call was targeting. So after review, since this wasn't targeting, there is no penalty. So this is one where I agree, where there needs to be nuance in the rule. They want to cut down on this type of hit, right? Whether it was forcible contact to the neck, head, like shoulder, right? It's close, it's hard, and it's a bang, bang play. I don't fault this defender for this hit. It's tough. You're trying to come out over across and punish the wide receiver, right, with a legal hit. I don't think he had any ill intent here. I feel like there are some plays where there is, especially leading with the helmet, things like that, that are worth closer to an ejection. But this sort of play, I feel like it's really difficult for the defender to do this right. And a lot of the times when there is incidental, right, incidental contact that happens to be to the head or neck area, you can penalize that to try to tell players, hey, we don't like that kind of hit, right? But when it's more incidental like this, where I don't feel like he's headhunting or anything like that, I don't think that he should be ejected for that, right? So the lack of nuance in the rule book of not being able to call it without an ejection has led to a number of calls that are possibly or probably a minor form of targeting, right? Not being called because you don't want to eject a player for it, right? Because of the lack of nuance, you're affecting how refs will be calling this in the future because they may not feel like a player deserves to be ejected for it. But you still want to dissuade this sort of hit from happening in football because it's dangerous, right? It's dangerous. So the rule being all or nothing is just crap. It's stupid. It's stupid. I'll call it what it is. It's stupid. There are things that could be done better, right, from the defender to not get in this situation, right? The rule book should not protect players in that sort of gray area. There should be a non-ejectable, egregious, and ejectable, or I'm sorry, non-ejectable, like this isn't a very egregious form of targeting, and this is a guy clearly spearing, headhunting, you're ejected, right? There needs to be more nuance there in the rule, and there simply isn't. So that's my take on it. I'm not terribly mad that this is a non-targeting call because they were consistent with it later in the game, right? But still, it's a tough hit. And Michigan kept Roman Wilson out as a precautionary measure. It seems like this doesn't seem like a hit that really blew him up, right? It did seem, and Michigan has said it was precautionary. I get it, right? You got to protect one of your best players for Ohio State. So makes sense whenever there's like a chance for an injury or anything like that, you don't mess around, especially when it comes to head injuries. So I'm glad Michigan took the safer route there. Okay, 2nd and 10, Michigan in Maryland territory. Here we go.
McCarthy with the handoff. Corum cuts it inside. First down.
Not a ton of great run plays for Michigan in this one, right? Not a ton of them. But this is where Michigan is able to win based on the threat of JJ McCarthy's legs, right? Let's move into this look. This looks a little bit better. So counting numbers again, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in, right? You got your H-back or tight end here, wing tight end. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's your 6 against 6. They're adding a body here. Maryland is here into the box. They're running him off the edge. How do you eliminate him from your blocking scheme, right? You read him with your eyes. Read him with your eyes. Make him think there's a possibility that he's keeping to the outside just so he eliminates himself from the play. Then you can give here to Blake Corum. That's exactly how this play worked out, right? And all you need is for him to think about it, right? Number 13 there on the edge. All you need is for him to just hesitate right there, right? Just make him think that JJ McCarthy might have the ball, right? As soon as you hesitate here, that's all you need for Blake Corum to get a crease. It's exactly what it is. So it's a really good job there, right? Really good job. And then let's look at the blocks here for Michigan on the play side. This is well done all around. Everyone does a really good job. Not the toughest blocks on the backside, right? Let's watch 65, 52 here backside. They're just here to not allow anything to come backside here, right? This is where the play is designed. So watching the backside lineman, there's Zinter, there's Barnhart. They do well, right? Turn your hips here to the outside. Boom, boom. Don't let anything, if they want to come upfield, that's fine. Just don't let them go this way. Allow room for the play side offensive line to go to work. All right, let's watch the double team here. Got a double team here. Nugent, Keegan fall off to the backside linebacker, right? Fall off to this. So get movement here and then take out number 1 backside linebacker. Good double team, right? They win initially. Keegan able to work off of that nose tackle and then get out to number 1. Good job, right? Able to maintain this, get out to the second level. That's big, right? So boom, 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 boom. That's 4 blocks or 4 defenders accounted for. So there's only 2 more left, right? You got Hinton here on the left side, takes on defensive tackle. Then you got a little hesitation. Boom, get up. This is the most important block on the play, right? Loveland, you hesitate. Boom, get out to the play side linebacker. Take him out. Hinton has an important block as well. He stays engaged. Good job getting his hips turned to the outside. And there's a big block from Colson Loveland. Let's back that up so we can watch those 2 again. Right, good contact there from Hinton. Good job from Blake Corum cutting off of that block. I like how he threatens the inside here, right? He's going to threaten right here, try to get this safety to bite hard here, right? And then he's going to cut back here. So it's a good job there, right? And then he cuts back. You see him cut off the block. Only thing that he could have done a little bit better here is Samaj Morgan, right? Samaj Morgan seems like he's initially looking out towards this guy before coming back towards the corner. He just doesn't pick up that safety quite that well, right? So if you're going to take out somebody, right, take out somebody. Don't hesitate a little bit, right? So he initially, I don't know if he's actually targeting this, right? I might be wrong here. It seems like he might just be setting up this block, but he never actually picks him up, right? He's not able to pick up that block effectively. It's tough, right? Because that player can see where the run is developing, right? Samaj Morgan cannot, right? His eyes don't see where the running back is going. So it's tough to react as quickly as the defender can in that case, right? He does a little bit to get a couple extra yards, but not the best, right? So I think there's a maximum amount of yards, right? About the maximum amount of yards that you can get here. Good job at the end of this run for Blake Corum here to just churn out a couple extra yards as well, right? Give some credit to Tyler Morris here blocking through to the end of the play. It's a good job, right? Not bad at all. And one of Michigan's more successful runs. Larry Johnson here. Don't understand lack of carries for Mullings. He has looked great all year and should be a weapon in short yardage. I don't disagree with you. I would like to see more of him as well. I don't think we've seen the last of him. I also don't know what extent his injury has really hindered him, right? He did have, I think it was a wrist injury earlier this year. He came back against, was it Michigan State or Purdue? Maybe Purdue, I think he came back for, but only played spot snaps, right? So I don't exactly know, right? I bet that we do see him quite a bit more moving forward if I were a betting man. I mean, Corum does have just a knack to pick up those yards, right? Pick up those yards in short yardage situations. He's been excellent on the goal line in short yardage situations. It's worth using Corum in that, situation. And yeah, I think this is the case where they probably feel like they're starting to get Donovan Edwards back comfortable, right? They want to continue to get him to that place because they feel like he's a weapon that they need to continue to try to bring up to speed where he was last year. So I think that's part of it. I think they're maybe hoping that he can get that cast or brace off or just be more comfortable, right? I'm talking about Mullings at this point. So yeah, it is perplexing a little bit because they've given him a couple carries, right? But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. So we'll see. I hope that we continue to see him because I agree with you. He's an exceptional running back. I think he can definitely be used as a big weapon for the Wolverines still this year. Okay, moving into second and goal here. Here's a short yardage guy, right? Here we go.
Corum, touchdown.
When in doubt, follow 44. All right. Just follow 44. Good movement here on the right side. Good movement up front. And just follow your fullback. Right? Just follow him. Right? Max Bredesen does such a good job of just finding that little crease. Right? It's a good push here, especially from Barnhart. Right? Zinter, not the best base here. He's kind of leaning off this way. But really good push here from Barnhart. Going to recognize Max Bredesen. Goes right off his right butt cheek there. I don't know why I said it like that. But he finds that and just throws himself into that gap, right? And that's where Blake Corum is going, right? Just shadow him, right? Go right into his butt, shove him into the end zone, right? Boom, run right into him, right? And that's going to get you to the promised land. So that's what you need to do, right? You look across the offensive line, and it's like, where else are you going to go, right? Blake Corum just has a knack for not hesitating and knowing when there's an opportunity to bounce, right? When there's an opportunity to make something more, and when to just barrel your way through, right? And this is a barrel. This is a barrel situation, right? You just throw yourself into the mess there. And there's good movement, right? Good movement. And you add to the momentum by just barreling yourself into two of the players that are getting the most movement on that play, right? So it works out, right? It works out. And down goes the dominoes into the end zone, right? So as much as I love the tush push that Maryland did all game, right? We'll get to that. This is effective, right? And Blake Corum's the guy that you want in that scenario. Okay, back into defense here. Michigan up 7-3 at this point. I believe this is third down for Maryland once again. Maybe, maybe not.
Down and 10 at the 25. Here's Tagovailoa. Reverses in trouble and sack. Loose ball picked up. Michigan has it. Touchdown Wolverines.
There you go. Right. This is when I was like, okay, game over. Right. Pretty much. I was like, this is it. Such a clever little stunt here. Right. This is all designed to get Michigan free with, why am I talking so slow? With Michael Barrett. Okay. The stunt, go inside, big loop here for Michael Barrett. And this is number 2, right? This is your secondary rush. The first rush, get pressure from the outside here, force him to think he has an escape valve this way, right? So this is number 1, right? Get pressure to the outside, force him to the outside, and then guess what? You're going to have Mike Barrett barreling down on you, right? So there you go. There's your speed rush to the outside, right? And there's the second rush, right? So that's perfectly executed, and that's exactly what Michigan wanted, right? With an athletic quarterback like that, right? You're going to expect him to find the safety valve, right? If this rush is here, you're going to expect him to leak this way, especially when you have your 2 defenders going towards the inside here, right? That creates a natural lane here towards the backside for Tagovailoa to leak to, right? But that's why you're bringing this guy backside to meet him at that point, right? So it's a clever little stunt. Now, why doesn't Maryland block this guy on the top, right? How don't you see that? Why don't you block it? This I'm not sure of, right? Because if we count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're just looking at this, right? It seems like boom, I got him, boom, I got him, boom, boom, and boom, right? Why don't they see that, or why don't they expect that? Hard to say, right? It seems like this is intuitive, right? For 1 and 2. Maybe they're expecting a different stunt, right? Because if we move forward a little bit here, don't exactly know why, right? But also look at how slow the right side of the offensive line is to react here, right? He's not even reacting. The right tackle, look how late he is until he gets out of his stance, right? Look how late he is. There's no shot that you're getting out to this. He hasn't even gotten out of his stance yet. So I don't know what he's doing, right? He's just late to this, not able to help at all there, right? So it's a little bit of a mess there from Maryland, if we're being honest. And then at the point, right, where this pressure is getting to him, Tagovailoa is like, crap, I need to escape. There's the second attack, right? This is exactly what Michigan is trying to get, right? And the whole purpose of this stunt, right, is to occupy the tackle, right? Get the tackle to pay attention to you, attack this gap between the center and guard, right? Force the guard to follow here. So when you try to go here, guess what? The tackle's already going to be occupied. The guard's already going to be occupied. There's no way that the center can actually get out and defend that. Right? So there's no way that the center can actually follow Barrett there. It's a losing battle, right? It's a losing battle. And then it's just a great punch there for Michael Barrett, right? He's able to get his hands through the hands of Tagovailoa looking like a little Aiden Hutchinson, right, on his sack against the Bears for the safety. It's a really good job here from Mike Barrett. Watch this right hand, right? Boom. Just get in between the hands there of the quarterback. Boom. Rip down between those hands, right? So that's great. How great of a player, right, is Mike Barrett in general. Just time and time again, making the right play. And then good job from the rest of the defense, right? Following up, Derek Moore gets his touchdown, right? Boom. Big play. Huge play, right? 14-3. Feeling good now, right? Let's get back to the defense now. You're up, right? You're up by 11 at this point, and defense is continuing to impress here. Let's get it going.
27. Tagovailoa in trouble. That goes down.
Jalen Harrell, right? This is Michigan probably just knowing out of certain looks, right, how the defensive line or how the offensive line will react. Again, this is a scenario where it's a poor job from Maryland not taking into account Jalen Harrell, right? Because they're sending out these guys in pass, right? You need to at least chip this guy, right? Because they're not actually shifting out their tackle to account for him, right? I don't know why, right? I guess if you're looking at pure numbers, right, this is what Maryland is accounting for, right? But you need to at least chip here, or at least from your tackle, right? You need to keep an eye on the outside and then get back to the inside in case they're bringing a blitz here, right? So just poor play here for Maryland. They need to be able to pass this off, right? You have bodies on the right side, right, to account for this. You have a body for your nose tackle. You have a body here. You need to be shifting out and be flexible here across the left side of your offensive line in the potential of Michigan sending all three, right? You got three bodies. After this snap, you need to really, really stress that this guy get across here. And it probably should be up to the quarterback, right, to point out that, hey, this guy is looking like he's going to be flying down. Maybe get a chip on him, right, so that you give your offensive line a chance to shift over here, right? You need to give your guys a chance, right? So that needs to be recognizable from your quarterback, especially with the stance that Jalen Harrell is in, right? Because that looks dangerous, because it is dangerous, right? There he goes. No one accounts for him. No one chips him. It's backside. Guess what? You're done, right? You're done. So I think Michigan just took advantage of knowing how Maryland would play with this alignment, right? How do they defend when we set up super wide with one of our guys, right? And this is where having a guy like Jalen Harrell really comes in handy, where you can blitz him off the edge, right? You can drop him to the flat. You can do a lot of things with him, right? Do a lot of things with him. And although, how many times have I said week over week, he's not the best pass rusher, right? He's disciplined. He's disciplined. He's going to take a good angle. He's going to break down a little bit, right? And he's going to be able to finish the tackle, right? He doesn't come right here. He's able to break down, right? Right here's a little bit of a breakdown. He recognizes he's going to try to spin out. He's going to try to do some move, and he comes with control, right? He's not an uncontrolled blitzer here. He's very responsible in his blitzing. So it's a great job, right? It's a great job and a good play call. And Michigan has all the momentum on defense here, right? So it's up 4th and 17. And here we go, right? Big special teams play.
And this one blocked in the end zone, kicked out of play.
Christian Bovine, dude is a baller, right? We go back to the Nebraska game, right? Nebraska game where he just took out a guy on a kick return, right? That's number 40 there. Fun fact, I looked up his profile, right? His UMich profile, like his high school, because I was like, where'd this guy come from? South Traverse City. I forget which one, whether it's West Catholic or Traverse City Central. I'm not sure exactly which one. Dude set a Michigan high school record with 7 blocked kicks. And I don't know if that is just kicks or punts as well, but 7 blocked kicks in one season, which was over the course of 10 games, right? So that's who this guy is, right? So that's great for Michigan recognizing that, hey, this guy set a Michigan high school record for the number of kicks he blocked, right? Preferred walk-on. And we're like, we're going to use him on special teams, right? So he is a true special teams savant, right? He's the Michigan high school record holder, right? So that's a fun fact for you to bring up in your next watching experience. If he ever makes another play, you can be like, we set a Michigan high school record. Like, there you go. Can't do any better than that, right? Dude lays out perfectly. That is exactly how you block a kick. Excellent job. And then I had another tweet about this. They need to change the rules about this, right? Kicking the ball out of the end zone. What year is he? That's a great question. I think he's a redshirt sophomore. I'm going to look this up right now. Let me see. Junior. He might actually be a redshirt. Yeah, I think he's probably a redshirt sophomore. It just says junior, but he only played in one game as a freshman. So technically like a redshirt sophomore. Okay, so what do I mean by there should be a rule change? Just great. Look at that play. Full extension, perfectly timed. Really good job. Okay, so what I mean by this is if you kick it out of the end zone like this punter did, right, which is a smart play, right? You don't allow the defense to recover it for a touchdown, right? It's a penalty. All right. See the ref, he's pulling out his penalty, whatever. The penalty doesn't do anything. Okay. You decline the penalty because you just take a safety, right? That's what batting, I think it's called batting, right? Boom. It's a safety, right? There needs to be a worse penalty for that. Okay. Here's my proposal. Penalty. If there's batting out of the end zone, right? You either take the ball at the 3-yard line, first and goal, right? Or you decline it and you get the safety, right? I think that's what it should be. You either get the ball at the 3-yard line or you decline it and you get a safety, right? Because this penalty, right? What is dissuading this player from doing this right here, right? What's dissuading him? It's either a touchdown, right, that they recover it, or it's a safety if you just boot it out of the end zone, right? There's nothing that dissuades the player from absolutely kicking it out of the end zone because the worst case is a touchdown. Best case in this is it's a safety, right? So when a penalty provides the offense here with the best case scenario, the rule is broken, right? The best case scenario here is a safety. Worst case is a touchdown, right? So anyway, I think the rule should be changed because I'd rather give the team that caused this situation, right, the defense, the option of taking the ball over here than just a safety, which would have happened in the worst case scenario for the defense. Anyway, great play from Christian Boveen. Really good job from him. Special teams player of the year, probably at this point. Well, Tommy Doman's been excellent, so never mind. But he's still great. All right, I'll give him that. All right, 2nd and 10, Michigan.
McCarthy.
So I said the legs here weren't live for JJ McCarthy. I forgot about this one. This is a really good job from number 2. Right. We'll look at the other angle here. I think this is a better angle. Also, hold on before I get to that. What's with him just like he pulls the towel and he just tosses the towel. It's like that Florida player that threw the shoe, right? What the hell is that? Okay. So let's play Sesame Street. Let's count the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's number 7. How do you eliminate him? With your eyes, right? Eliminate with your eyes. If he comes threatening the keep to the outside, right? If he follows that, you give. Otherwise, if he goes towards the inside, fake that, keep to the outside. Boom, we got blocks on the outside. Boom, boom, right? That's your play. That's your play. So what's wrong with this play? What happened? He does a really good job making this a gray read, right? What I mean by gray read, it's not black and white, right? He gets upfield, so he gets good depth into the backfield, and then he starts to threaten horizontal a little bit before getting vertical. See, he gets a good depth here. He starts to run horizontal. This is the point that the read is being made, right? It seems like he's crashing downhill pretty hard. But then right at the mesh point, he stops, right? So he was threatening, boom, I'm getting upfield, boom, I'm coming inside here, right? This is the point where JJ McCarthy is making that read, and then he cuts up, right? And then he stops, right? Then he stops. So he made this a true gray read for JJ McCarthy. I don't think it's a bad decision to keep, right? Obviously, it was the wrong one, but at this point where he's making that decision, right, this guy is running like hell down the line of scrimmage for the running back, right? That's really tough, especially with his body language. This is a snapshot, right? It's really hard to read this for JJ McCarthy. So give him a ton of credit. He defended that about as well as you can for a read. Made it really difficult on JJ McCarthy to make the correct decision here. Obviously, hindsight will tell you if you give right here, right, because now this guy is stationary, right? If you actually gave the ball here, boom, there you go, right? Because look at where the blocking ends up here, right? You got a block here from Barner. You could potentially fall off that and pick up this linebacker who will flow to the play, right? And they got blocks on the outside, right? This guy eliminated himself because he decided that it was possibly going to be a JJ McCarthy keep, right? And then boom, one-on-one against the safety, right? So it could have been a big play. Could have been a big play. JJ McCarthy pulls because of the initial movement there of number 2, right? Made JJ McCarthy guess wrong, right? Good play. It's tough. And I think this angle shows it pretty well too. It's just a really, really tough read. Good job getting upfield, right? That's about the best I've ever seen a player play that sort of read. It's really well done. Really difficult. So this is a tip your cap to Maryland for playing that extremely, extremely well. That player especially. All right, 4th and 8. Maryland forces a 3rd and long and a 4th and long, and Michigan decides to go for it. Now, I was questioning why Michigan was going for it here. Wind, probably the main reason, right? There were swirling winds. Maybe there's something going on with James Turner because, I mean, he didn't miss any extra points or anything. So I don't know. I feel like Michigan probably just felt like the wind was a variable that they felt more comfortable with their offense than kicking at that point.
Here's JJ McCarthy. Steps into his throw, sideline.
This gets called for defensive pass interference. Do I agree with it? I think it was. I also think this throw was late, right? I also think this throw was a little bit late from JJ McCarthy, right? All we need to look at here is the oh gosh, I hate how often Fox just does this, right? So you look at the hand fighting initially, right? You're about 50-50 right here, 50-50 between both Barner and the defensive back here. So no issues at this point, no issues. Now you're starting to get into the point, especially right here, where you're trying to disengage here and you got this jersey pull, right? You got this jersey pull right here. And he continues to hold on to that, right? And then right here, right? You look right here, his body's on him, okay? He's trying to work back towards the ball, wraps both arms around him like this. He effectively takes him out, right? Takes him out. And then, yeah, he tries to take his hands away, right? Is it the most egregious? No. But as soon as you hug like this, right? And then the legs there get tripped up from Barner, it's tough. It is tough for the officials to not call that, right? So that's the best way that I can describe it. I don't think the defensive back did themselves any favors because I do think it was close to 50-50 for most of this, right? For most of it. But then that jersey hold right here, you can see that jersey really being held. And then right here, the hugging and the fact that this hugging conjoined with the sort of tripping that this caused for Barner, it's tough. It's extremely, extremely physical. I do think it was 50-50 at points, but just moved the needle a little bit too far for this to be not called. But I still think this needs to be thrown earlier, right? I still feel like this needs to be thrown now, right? Ball needs to be there a little bit quicker. It was just thrown a little bit late, right? A little bit late, not the most accurate ball. But again, he was affected, right? So did Michigan maybe get a little bit of a break? Maybe, but I still think it was the right call. Still think it was the right call. And that extends Michigan's drive here. All right, 2nd and 10. Michigan on the 16.
Edwards.
Why is it all choppy? Let me restart that.
Edwards, second man through it.
Woof, right? Woof. Just not a great play all around. Let's look at the other angle. I think we got the end zone angle here. They're sending a blitz off the edge, right? Not something Michigan accounted for. So looking at the left side, block here. Right? You're pulling across the formation here. So no one's accounting for number 4 backside here, right? So that's not great, right? We have no one accounting for him. He's the guy who makes the first contact. And then it's just poor blocking front side, right? Got to get your hat across here if you're Nugent, right? Get your hat across. And this defensive tackle just straight up beats Nugent, right? That first step. I don't know where that first step is going here for Drake Nugent, right? That left foot, we can't see it from this angle, but you can see that left foot, it's starting after this first right step. So he's going to go right step, and then watch how much forward that left step is. It really goes vertical upfield here, right? And he's not able to work horizontally here. So it might have just been a case of a missed call, right? But you need to be working more towards what Zach Zinter is doing, right? Almost match his footwork. And he's not able to get as horizontal here in his first couple steps, right? So you got to work horizontal here, similar to Zinter. That's your job here, right? You just release towards the right here because that's where this hole is forming, right? And he's just not able to get enough of this defensive tackle, right? So combine that with this lost block, and that means 2 guys are through where your main blockers between Bredesen and Barner are working through this A-side gap, right? But you already have 2 guys through the line of scrimmage when they're not supposed to, right? So play's dead as soon as that happens, right? I would argue the play's already dead without Nugent's missed block, and then it's mega dead there, right? Because there's nowhere else for Donovan Edwards to go. So unfortunate, right? You can't be having that. Not against a team like Maryland, especially not against a team like Ohio State, right? It's huge. All right, now you're into 3rd and long again, right? Behind the sticks, 3rd and 11 on the 17.
McCarthy comes it. Sideline first down.
Nice throw here. Really good job for Michigan. And I really like what they do with the motion here. I think it's really subtle how they use motion in most situations, but especially this one. And what I mean by that is they're in man, right? They're manned up here. Maryland is. So what does this motion do? This motion here for Cornelius Johnson. That shifts, right? You can see this sort of call here from the safety. He's saying that their responsibilities are now shifted, right? Where he's likely going to be manned up now against whatever Cornelius Johnson is doing, right? And that his responsibility has shifted to Colson Loveland, right? So what I like about what this motion does is this guy has to shift back inside, right? So that shift, right? Watch what it does to number 3's hips here, right? Look at his hips. Because he has to communicate here, right? He's communicating here on the pass off of who's responsible for who, right? Look at his hips. They're pointed inwards, right? And they're going to maintain inwards even on this route, right? So watch the technique for number 3 here. There comes Loveland, right? He's outside. He's outside. Boom. Then he cuts into the out route, right? But look at the hips of 3, right? He is not in a back pedal. He's not in a traditional back pedal here, right? If his hips are pointed forward, right? Pointed forward, and then you see this out route here. What is the play if your hips are forward, right? You open your hips this way, right? You open your hips up and you're able to react well to this out route because your hips are pointed forward. Then there's only what, like a 30-degree angle in order to shift them back this way. Instead, because his hips are pointed this way, how do you react to this out route, right? You have to turn all the way around here, or it's really difficult if you're faced this way, and then you have to all of a sudden point your hips this way, right? You have to do a longer reaction to that. So watch how he has to turn his entire body here. Boom. See how you never want to be turning your head all the way around in reaction to a route. You never want to be doing that, right? Because look at where he ended up, right? In order to turn, you have to cover a lot more ground when you're turning your back here. You have to run all the way around here instead of, if you're pointed this way, right? You just have to open up this way with your hips instead of going all the way around, right? So he's already kind of lost against this out route because, again, this motion meant he had to shift this way, run this way, look this way, right? Pass it off to him. Now his hips are already pointed where he has to abandon his technique and his hips are no longer open to react to an out route, right? He has to react to it this way, turn all the way around. That's tough, right? That's really difficult on number 3. So is it bad technique? Yeah, it's not great, but also Michigan put that on him, right? They put him in a really difficult situation because of that motion, right? There's the hips, and this gives even a better view, right? Okay, so he doesn't actually turn all the way around like I said he did, but look how much more this hip movement, how much more difficult that is, right? That's a lot. That's a much bigger angle of flipping your hips than if he was already, right? Than if he was already square and pointed this way, right? Turning your hips this way from being initially pointed this way is much easier than when you're pointed this way, right? So that's what helps create the separation, is because of that motion, creating poor technique against an out route, forcing a much tougher hip movement. So that's not bad coverage, right? It's just a tough route to cover with those hips, right? It's a great throw. Really good throw from JJ McCarthy. Probably one of his better on the day, right? Because that's a long throw too. That's from the right hash, right? From the right hash. There's a great view of it, right? So you need to put that on a line. It's right at the face mask. That's a great catch and a great throw. Sets up Michigan well. 3rd and goal, right? Guess who? You already know who it's going to.
Out of the I formation, 15th play of the drive. Corum, touchdown Wolverines.
Like I said, he has a knack for the end zone. Has a knack for it. It's just his thing. Michigan running a little bit different, right? Sometimes they like to run a little bit of a wedge, right? Wedge where you're just wedging guys in and then you just boom, barrel your way through. This is a little different where you're blocking down like this, right? I think you're blocking heads up here, and then Zinter pulls, gets the first man on the edge, and then you follow off tackle there for Bredesen, or off tight end actually. So yeah, you're actually blocking down here, pull, get the outermost, right? Get this guy, and then you take on the first edgemost defender that you see. Boom, take him out. Boom, right? And again, what do you do if you're Blake Corum? Just follow your fullback, right? Trust that your fullback will be able to get you there, right? And that's what he does. Great block again from Bredesen, right? The guy wants to tank, that's fine, right? If the guy doesn't want to take you head on, guess what? Dive over it, right? Dive over it. And that's exactly what Blake Corum does. Just kind of soars his way in, right? He has a nose for it. Blake Corum up the middle, touchdown Michigan, almost 100% guarantee. That's the thing. You trust him to know, right, when to find the open space, or when to jump over guys or barrel into his own offensive line. You trust him more than pretty much anybody to find that and to make the right decision in that scenario, And I didn't even notice this. Oops. What did I just open? I love this right here for Keegan. Oh, that's hilarious to me. But yeah, you just trust Blake Corum in this scenario to find the end zone. He just has a way, right? It's good blocks too. I'm not trying to, discredit anything anybody else does. Barnhart does a really good job on his block here. Decent enough job from Barner. Good kick out block there from Zinter and Bredesen. One of the most valuable players on this Michigan offense. Consistent, time and time again, right? Drive that guy in the ground. Blake Corum, go over the top. Boom. The route is on. Yeah, this is when, again, it was like, okay, it's everything good is going to happen, right? We're going to have a string of some bad plays here. Again, I think we're only going to do the first half tonight. We'll do the second half on Wednesday. But yeah, man, feeling good at this point, right? Woo, here we go. All right, back on defense, 1st and 10. Midway through second quarter.
Hemby tries to cut it back. Not a lot of room.
And this is one of those plays where stretch against a big man, right? You can even see the center. After he snaps the ball here, his whole goal is just work past the nose guard and get out to a linebacker, right? Don't even really have to block him. This is stretch left, right? We're not expecting this defensive tackle to be able to work down the line of scrimmage, right? But that nose tackle is a Kenneth Grant, right? And this is where I've always been like, what is the use of wingspan, whatever like that? Watch him just stiff arm this guard, right? Watch Kenneth Grant just stiff arm the hell out of this backside guard here, right? With that left arm right there, just stiff arm him. Guy can never get engaged, right? And then Kenneth Grant just running down the line, right? Just runs down the line of scrimmage. Dude's a freak. Dude's a freak, right? And give a lot of credit to the, I think that's Derek Moore, play side. He does a really good job. Your linebacker does a good job coming upfield here as well. So it's a good job from Derek Moore play side. Good job setting the edge there. I believe this is Mike Sainer still. Right here, works the inside, sets a good edge. So all the players here do a great job just delaying this a little bit for Rowan Hemby. He's not able to find anything, right? Edge is set, good defense overall. So there's nowhere really to go for Hemby. But Kenneth Grant, right? Just working down the line of scrimmage, right? Just plowing his way, moving those legs. He's a monster. He's a monster. So there wasn't a whole lot going in the run game for Maryland. Then we get to a couple negative plays here. All right. Get prepared. Get prepared.
The acceleration from the big fella. 2nd down and 10. Sideline throw, and it's caught. Prather.
Cannot be doing that if you're Josh Wallace, right? He was pulled late because of a double move. This is something that if I'm Ohio State, I'm just doing this all day, right? Let's be honest. They got athletes, right? They got athletes. And usually Josh Wallace is a surefire tackler, right? Surefire tackler. But you also know they're looking at this, right? They're looking at this right here, especially the eyes of Josh Wallace. This is why he gets beat on double moves, right? Because look at his body language, right? If this is a pump fake, right? If this is a pump fake and it's a boom and boom, right? You're toast straight up, right? And that's his biggest downside really as a cornerback this year is he bites. He bites and he comes down hard on that initial move. So the double move can really, really hurt him, right? But this is where he's usually great, right? He's usually really good when he gets it right, right? On this just quick hitch, he's usually been taking these guys out, right? So this is just a poor tackle attempt here, right? Not the best, right? And I think always in this scenario, I get it. You always want to flood to the force the opponent inside here, right? Nothing to the outside of you because there's nothing up here on the outside here, right? There's nothing. So at least force him back towards the inside where you have your help, right? Where you have your bodies, right? But at this point, the guy doesn't have the ball, right? You know what's coming at this point. put your helmet to the interior here, right? And he's just not able to secure the catch, right? Lay a lick on him, right? He just comes a little bit too tentative. If you're going to go and hit him, right? Especially when you see the hands here, especially when you see the hands coming out for the wide receiver, right? As soon as you see that, right? Now you should be in, I'm going to lay this dude the F out, right? That should be the mode. And he just doesn't, right? So can't be having that, right? Cannot be having that. That should be, what is that? A 4-yard gain? That should be a 4-yard gain, right? 4-yard gain, boom, blow him up. Instead, it turns into, what is that? 12-yard gain, 14-yard gain. Yeah, can't be having that. Not great. Okay, moving into 2nd and 7 here on the Michigan 18-yard line.
Be able to run the football right at them down the middle of the defense.
Tagovailoa dancing, throws it behind his receiver. Daichich, it's caught. He'll turn it up.
I mean, what is this? 2018 Michigan versus OSU, right? What are we doing here? Okay, so what went wrong? What went wrong? I'm not exactly sure. It seems like there's a bust in coverage here. Top of the screen seems, and this is weird because it seems, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure on my coverages. All right. That's the one thing I really need to brush up on in this offseason. So telling you exactly what's going on in the coverages, not going to be able to do that. To me, you're manned up here. Looks like you're manned up here. You're probably manned up here as well. All right. So let's watch this, see if I'm correct there on just how Michigan is handling that. Right. And how am I calling that out? Because this is impressed. Seems like press man. Eyes are right here. Right. Seems like he's there. This seems like it's man coverage as well. Right. So they all seem manned up. Right. They seem like they're manned up there. The issue is, it doesn't seem like it's man coverage on the backside here, right? It doesn't seem like it, or at the very least, it seems like it isn't communicated well, right? Because it doesn't make sense to have man coverage on number 2 here on a crossing route here with this deep of a safety, right? So what's the issue? I think the eyes just get caught for, I believe it's Junior Colson, where they shouldn't be, right? If you clearly have guys who are dropping out into a zone, right? Seems like these guys should be in a zone in the hook curl area here. Where are your eyes looking, right? Where are your eyes if you're Junior Colson, right? Those guys are manned up. Why are you still looking that way, right? So his eyes are not disciplined, right? He only comes back here to look afterwards. But he's way too affected by like this sort of route, right? He's way too affected by that. So his instincts there just aren't great, where he starts to follow that, right? And this is another instance of knowing where your defense is. Know where your defenders are, right? Know where your bodies are. And you can see the call out here from your safety. I believe that's Quentin Johnson, probably. He's calling this out pretty early. He sees this coming, right? You need to be seeing this as the linebackers, right? Keep your eyes here first and then look around, right? His order of operations are off here, right? Recognize what's happening in front of you, right? Take a quick scan, right? A quick scan. And then if you see nothing coming your way, then you can look around, right? But look at what's in front of you, what's actually happening here before you look and expand that. So his instincts are just a little bit off, right? Just a little bit off here because he doesn't get his eyes forward until this point, right? Whereas momentum, he's following this way too hard despite having Houseman here, right? You have guys backside to cover this, right? Especially right here. You have another linebacker. You have to know that, right? Before you start to just follow this immediately, you have to recognize, wait a minute. Why do I need to be following this hard, right? Do I need to, right? You should be asking that question before you do it, right? What coverage are we in? Because if he doesn't, right, if he's able to keep his eyes forward earlier, right, and have the understanding, oh yeah, this guy's here to cover this as well as this guy being in man coverage, right? So if he's able to do that, then he's not in this position where he's off balance, right? His body is taking him away from this. So then he's better to react, right? And see that this is coming across and say, oh, I need to step up here, right? His momentum's all the way off here. And boom, there you go. You're dead. You're dead at this point, right? You got nobody on him because you have Colson Loveland not reacting well to that play. So that's his biggest negative, right? I think he's a great athlete. I think he's still a good player. His instincts are just not there, right? His instincts are just not there. And yeah, I mean, this isn't the best protection, right? We look at the pocket, right? We look at the pass rush here for Michigan. It's not bad. You get an immediate, like a pretty quick win here for Mason Graham to the inside, right? Pretty quick win. Mason Graham is threatening this, right? It's just a quick play, right? This doesn't take long for this to develop, right? You get the snap. What is it? You get 1, 2, 3, right? Wait, boom. Not many pass rushes, even if you're coming from the outside here, are going to get there, right? This is a really quick play. So it's just a misplay. If your linebacker is able to recognize that, you're not able to get what Maryland did. And then this is just an impossible play to defend. I'm just going to call it. I don't think there's any way to defend the tush push. All right. I just don't with a tall quarterback.
And here's the tush push.
So like, what are you going to do? Right. By the time, even if right here, right, you say forward progress, whatever, right? Forward progress was stopped and say he's not in at this point, right? Where's the ball, right? How are you going to say where the ball is? And then you just have these guys, right? They're just going to keep pushing. Right? They're just going to keep pushing. By the time that they uncover, oh, okay, where was he? Right? There's no way of knowing where he was at the time of the blown whistle versus when he was in the end zone. There's just almost no possible way. Right? This is a great analysis, Tyler. I definitely use the word right way too often. I appreciate that. I need to get a lot better at that. So I 100% agree with you. I've been trying to not use that word as a filler. So I will, for the rest of this, I will not use that. So the tush push is impossible to defend. And this is something where you are offsides technically, right? Ah, there it is. You are offsides from a technical standpoint. You are. So it is the appropriate call here. It is just impossible to defend. I truly believe it is impossible with a 6'4" quarterback. I don't know why more teams aren't always using this in short yardage situations. If it's 3rd and 1, do it 2 times. Do it 2 times. You're going to pick it up. You simply are. So very difficult to defend. Give Maryland credit. They got in this situation multiple times and they capitalized on it. So give them a ton of credit there. Okay. 23-10 at this point. 2-minute drill here for the Wolverines on their own 37.
49 to go. McCarthy. And he throws a strike.
Good route. Oh, no need to be sorry. I appreciate you pointing that out. I'm always trying to improve here, right? God. Oh, it's too funny now. I'm always trying to improve here, so I appreciate any constructive criticism to help improve the videos. 100%. Always welcome here. The rules make this impossible to defend. Defense isn't allowed to push. 100%. 100%. Okay. What happened on this play? This is a great route from Tyler Morse. And this is where Michigan was really hurting, I think, without Roman Wilson, right? There it is. Who is going to be the guy who just wins straight up on routes for you? It's not a lot of guys who can do that. Not a lot of guys that can do that for Michigan. And Tyler Morris needs to step up at times to do this. This is a great route. Really good route. Inside release here. Works inside release. And then he's able to just be a little bit physical with the corner here. A little bit physical, but use that momentum against him, right? It's not an obscene amount of contact there. Was able just to disengage enough. It's about 50-50 here, right? Right arm, use that momentum against him, and then able to continue on that route. So really good job from him. Let's look at the pass protection really quick here. Only a 4-man rush, relatively quick throw. Good job from Barnhart there. Been tough on him in the past couple of games, rightfully so, including this one. Not the best pocket, but plenty good enough. And that's a good job from Tyler Morris finding his way open there on that route. Good route from him. Give him credit. Inside release. You have to know how to be physical and when to be physical, right? And that is a good case of the exact amount of physicality that your wide receivers should display here. Okay. 4th and 3. Michigan's ballsy, right? Again, not deciding to use their field goal kicker here, probably because of the wind.
17 to go in the first half. McCarthy. Sideline caught.
I called this one out. I was like, you have a little bit off coverage here. This is a matchup Michigan wants. This is going to be an out route to Colson Loveland. I called it. No one was around. So I'm just going to force you to accept that I called this play exactly. I don't always. I would say I actually rarely call it correctly, but this one I felt. This is good coverage. And I feel like they predicted this route extremely well. Again, good hips here for number 2 this time. Remember the previous out route we covered over here where the hips weren't there? Watch how well number 2 is able to react to this. He gets into his back pedal. Right? He's able to get on the route here, shorten the amount of distance on this out route. That lessens the amount of field that Colson Loveland has to actually break on that route. It really threatens the sideline. The sideline. Let's see if we can actually. We can't even see a better angle of the cut here. But anyway, relatively quick throw, and not a lot of room here. That's pretty good coverage. Just falling down a little bit. Number 2 isn't falling down a little bit, right? It's probably broken up. But that's Colson Loveland, right? He's an excellent tight end hybrid kind of guy, right? You could call him a wide receiver in certain sets, right? Brock Bowers type of dude. And this is really well thrown where it has to be. It's a good route against good coverage. Sometimes, like I say, you have to hat tip the offense. If the offense is run exceptionally well, sometimes the defense can't do anything but give a hat tip. I feel like this is one of those scenarios. Is there any pass rush? They're sending 5. Good job from the halfback. Actually, could have done a little bit better of a job, Blake Corum. But you have this defensive tackle coming right up the gut. It's good job from Blake Corum recognizing that, right? Shoot, I just said it again. Not the best job from Hinton, right? Oh, my God. I'm going to write on a chalkboard. Don't say the word right for 50,000 times. So you could have a little bit better eyes here from Keegan, and then not the best job from Hinton there getting across. But it's good recognition there for Blake Corum to just hold him up enough to give time for J.J. McCarthy. So it's a great job. Great throw, good timing, just enough time to execute the play. And that's a critical first down, right? Really good job. Okay, and then unfortunately we're going to end this stream on two of the worst plays from J.J. McCarthy. But hey, I don't choose it, right? I said I'm going to do the first half. This is the first half. I apologize, but first and goal here, 35 seconds left. You're on the 7-yard line.
McCarthy. Dancing. McCarthy, nice move, throws.
Okay, I saw a lot of people talking about this play and how he should have thrown it to Colson Loveland at the front of the pylon, right? Saw that a lot. It's a good fake right here. Just breaks that dude's ankles, right? So right here, right? People are saying if you're going to throw this ball, throw it here at the front of the pylon to Colson Loveland. I don't disagree. I think that's clearly a better option than throwing across your body here, back here where you have all these defenders, right? I'm not going to disagree with that at all. I do think the eyes here, JJ McCarthy, probably threw off this defender, right? I don't think this would have been as open, but this is an ill-advised throw, and this is a reasonable throw. So I definitely agree that this would have been the better option. Now, I think what people are missing is this was wide open to AJ Barner. Michigan got exactly what they wanted here if you watch AJ Barner in the back of the end zone. So watch AJ Barner here initially. Good move, inside release. Who's back there? Right? Who's back there? And what is JJ McCarthy looking at? Right? Of course you see this, right? But there's going to be a window here. There's going to be a window right there based on this angle. And at least throw it over the top, right? There's nothing, I keep saying the word, there's no safety over the top here. So it's not like you have to rifle this in here at the linebacker height. You can loft this over because there's no safety over the top. There's no issues there. So I think he saw exactly what he wanted, right? This guy is trailing. He's not able to work over the top here. There's a lot of room to loft this ball to make this the appropriate read. So I just think he missed it. I think he missed it. And there probably would have been a similarly open route if he looked initially this way towards Cornelius Johnson. We can't see at the top of the screen what's happening on the other route. I'm betting this is probably like a deeper in, and then an out route here towards the pylon. So I just think this is the spot to go because these guys won't get enough depth. There's no safety that's going to be dropping over the top because of Cornelius Johnson running this. That will take number 2 out of this area. There's going to be so much room here with not enough depth here from the linebackers. Just loft it towards the back of the end zone. Let your tight end inside release here go up and get it in the back of the end zone with no safeties dropping back there. Doesn't make sense. I don't know why he didn't do it. He was looking right there. That's the read. And he had it. So just didn't trust it. I feel like he didn't trust it. And then it's impossible to see what he's looking at here. So I can't appropriately judge, but I can judge that's not a good decision. Not a good decision. I think all of you would agree with me there. So once he got into scramble mode, I'll agree that Loveland towards the front pylon, that's almost surely a decent option. But I think he had exactly what they wanted right here to Barner. Boom. Hit that window. Hit that window or loft it over. Number 2's out of there. Not enough depth. He's trailing. You got a ton of area in the back of that end zone to loft that ball towards for Barner. So I don't know. I'm a little worried about it, right? If he's not able to make those throws, that's the difference between being up 30-10 and, we'll see what happens on the next play. So not enthused about that. And this is probably the only play I'm less enthused about.
McCarthy over the middle, intercepted at the goal line for Maryland.
I feel like this was an overcorrection. Where they recognized that previous play where you had this, the linebackers didn't drop back enough. There was a pass to be thrown between them, and JJ McCarthy didn't hit it. He probably he probably didn't get chewed out for it, but he was like, it was there. He could have been told that. It's conceivable. So at this point, he just telegraphs it. There's no need to force that. It's just not there. Not only do you have 2 players reacting to this, and number 2 closing on this right here, it's already going to be a tough throw. He just telegraphed it the whole way, was blind to this linebacker straight up. He just didn't even consider this guy just standing right in that area. So just a very ill-advised throw. There's no better way to put that. It's a quick throw and just ill-advised. Just didn't take that linebacker into consideration whatsoever. So that's not great. Getting points there would have been big. Even a field goal is fine. This is the one thing you can't do. I don't know what he was looking at. Right? Don't know what he was looking at here. It's clear he was just locked in, not considering that this guy would be playing it. We love the play against Michigan State, the Cal Haladay throw, where it went zipping by his ear. This linebacker's looking right at him. There's not a window here in this guy's not reacting, turning his back to try to defend this. And the field is short, so there's not a lot of ground to cover between these two guys as well. So it's unnecessarily risky. That's how I would consider that. Still a great play by number one. Give him a ton of credit. He went up and got that ball. It's a great play from the linebacker. But J.J. McCarthy, just didn't see him. Straight up did not see him. Can't be doing that. Cannot be doing that. Felt like no timeouts, field shrinking forced us to be one-dimensional. Move your eyes, JJ. Toski, could JJ have run the previous play? Let's go back. We got a couple. We'll do a minute here. Let's see if he could have run on this play. I don't think so. Where's he going to go? This guy is threatening here. So he has to throw the ball. Could he have run it earlier than that? I don't know. They got a lot of guys in zone here, right? Zone. I don't think it's in his best interest to run this ball. I think there were guys that were open early, right? Like we mentioned with Barner. It didn't seem like there was really an option to run the ball in this one. Okay. That is it for the first half. Again, we're looking at Wednesday. We're looking at Wednesday for the second half here. And I was hoping Trevor would join this one late, but I know he's got family things and stuff. So, Adam, sorry. I didn't mean to call you out there. Wednesday, I'll be back here. It'll probably be similar time. It might be later. Actually, no, it's going to be later. So late night Wednesday, come join me. We got a lot of bad plays. So we won't be going into Thanksgiving feeling great after the Wednesday episode of analysis. But hey, man, I can't decide how the games go for you. Throw a like on this video if you like it. Subscribe if you don't already. If you hit that bell notification, or if you don't get the bell notification, if you don't get a notification for these live streams, undo it and then re-enable them, and you will get notified for the live streams. Come join us at the Den, the Michigan.Rivals.com premium message board. Lots of great intel from Josh Henschke, Trevor McHugh, and team over there. Appreciate you guys and gals, for all joining, chipping in here on the comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. It means a lot. It means a lot to have you guys here. It makes it really enjoyable for me. Okay, I'll be back on Wednesday. I won't wish you a happy Thanksgiving because you will see me again. If you're not going to be able to make it on Wednesday, then okay, happy Thanksgiving. But anyway, we'll talk to you. Beat Ohio State, of course, and go Blue. Talk to you guys later.